Hello, friends. I am the man with no identity, the man formerly known as John Henderson.
Welcome to the Theater of Thrills!
Henry Jekyll and his romantic interest, Margaret Addison, have visited a fortune-teller who uses her dark powers to read their futures. Margaret's future looks bright, and Henry's future looks frightful, frightening. Tonight's episode is a continuation of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now present George Edwards in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Well, this is a surprise, Margaret, dear. I didn't think we'd be seeing you before midday.
It's such a lovely morning, and I don't feel the least bit tired.
I'm surprised to hear that. You never stopped dancing from the time you got there till we left at 3 o'clock.
No need to ask if you enjoyed yourself, then.
None at all. It was marvellous. Just marvellous.
Had breakfast, my dear?
Yes, thanks. Carrie brought me up some quite a while ago. I think I'll go out and get a little of this morning sunshine, if you don't mind.
Yes, do, dear. You may not feel tired, but you could do with a little more colour in your cheeks.
Aunt Marion, here are your pearls. Thank you so much for letting me wear them. They look beautiful.
But, Margaret, dear, I meant you to keep them. Didn't you understand?
You said if you had a daughter, they would have been hers. I'm not your daughter, and I never will be. Never.
Well, what does it mean, Edward? Why did she say that?
I don't know exactly.
Something happened at the ball last night?
Well, nothing in particular.
Edward, you're keeping something back from me. I can tell by the way you speak. Now, what is it?
Well, it's just that Henry paid rather a lot of attention to a Mrs. Marchbanks last night, and I suppose Margaret's upset by it.
Mrs. Marchbanks? Not the Mrs. Marchbanks?
I think there is only one.
But what was she doing there? How did she come to be at the Hunt Ball?
I understand that she moves in the very best society, my dear. She's staying with the Marchioness of Welsh at present. Don't forget that she has met with the approval of a very distinguished personage indeed.
Forget it. How could I when it's common gossip in 2 continents? But does that mean that decent people have got to recognize a woman who makes an open fool of...
Hush, my dear. These things are far better left unsaid. She only concerns us because she's been the cause of making trouble between Margaret and Henry.
Did she take much notice of him?
Quite a bit.
But why? Henry's only a boy. What can a woman like that see in him?
Oh, he's handsome and young. These women like to try their wiles on young men sometimes.
I'd like to try my wiles on her. Edward, if anything really comes between Henry and Margaret, it'll break my heart. They're made for each other.
Well, we'd best leave these matters to them. Ah, there goes Henry across the terrace now. He's following her along Rose Walk. I think our little Margaret will be wearing those pearls after all, my dear. Come, pour me out another cup of coffee, and we'll go into the morning room. It's beautifully sunny there.
Margaret, wait for me. Why, where are you going in such a hurry?
For a walk?
Mind if I come?
I can't stop you.
Oh, yes, you can. By telling me you don't want me. Are you going to?
I'm going as far as the stables, really. I want to tell one of the grooms to have Clytie ready for me at 11.
Oh, going riding, are you? Who with?
John?
Margaret, look at me.
Why?
I want to tell you how terribly sorry I am. Oh, Margaret, I'm a brute. I deserve to have you hate me.
I don't hate you, Henry.
What then?
I don't know. I was angry last night, terribly angry. And now I just feel numb and dead. Oh, Henry, why did you do it?
Oh, why ask me? I was standing at the foot of the stairs, waiting for you, eager for you to come, and suddenly somebody came along and said that Mrs. Marchbanks had asked who I was and wanted to meet me. Well, I couldn't refuse. And then we started talking together, and it seemed as though she'd forgotten that there was anybody else in the room. I don't think I even asked her to dance, but somehow she seemed to be in my arms, and, well, we were out in the middle of the floor. Well, I can't explain it any better than that, I'm afraid.
And did that mean that you had to dance with her over and over again so that everybody was talking about you?
Well, I would never have done it if you hadn't given all my dances to John.
Well, I'm glad I did. I enjoyed dancing with John. I like him. I think he's nice, ever so much nicer than you.
Oh, I'm perfectly sure you're right, but you don't love him, and you never will.
What makes you so sure? He asked me to marry him, and I didn't say no.
You didn't say yes either, did you?
I said I'd tell him this morning.
When you go out riding?
Yes.
Margaret, you know what you've got to tell him, don't you? Oh, it isn't any use, Margaret. You'll never make yourself feel any better this way. And it isn't fair to John either.
What do you mean?
You're right when you say John's nice. He is. Too nice to be hurt so badly. You've got to tell him the truth and let him go.
And what is the truth?
That you'd hardly have given him a single dance if it hadn't been that I'd behaved so badly to you. You know that. And you know that there's no one else but me.
Oh, you're so certain of me. I hate you for it. Do you think that you can do anything to me and get away with it?
Margaret, do you remember what you said to me last night, just before you went upstairs to dress, after we'd come home from the hunt? You said, in spite of the gallows, in spite of everything. There may be nothing in what that crazy old woman in the tumble-down barn told us, but you must go on feeling that way about me, Margaret. You don't know how desperately I need you. You're everything that's best and worthwhile in life to me. Don't take yourself away and leave the Mrs. Marchbanks instead.
Henry, if I only understood you better. But there's something so strange and wild about you. At times you seem so old. As though you'd lived for 1,000 years.
Well, don't try to understand me. Just love me, Margaret. Love me forever. No matter what happens, no matter what I do. Otherwise, I'm lost. I know I am.
I do love you. If you only knew how much.
And you'll marry me? As soon as I'm through my course, you'll marry me?
Yes. Yes, I will.
Oh, I'm going to do such splendid things, dearest. I'm going to heal people and make them well. I'm going to get little children who are deformed and delicate and help to make them strong. I'm going to find new drugs and medicines to take away pain. I'm going to find a way to reach the tortured souls of men and women and give them peace.
Now you've got that look on your face that I love so much. Now I know why I love you. Why I'd follow you wherever you go.
Oh, if only you knew.
I only know I love you. And always will. Forever and forever.
May I come in, Mr. Addison?
Yes, Henry, my boy, come in. When did you reach London?
I came up last night, sir.
Have you seen Margaret?
Not yet. I thought I'd have a word with you first.
Well, sit down and tell me what it is I can do for you.
I want you to give your consent to Margaret and me announcing our engagement at her birthday party next week. You knew, of course, that we had a sort of understanding, didn't you?
Yes, I knew very well. As a matter of fact, Margaret told me about it after she came back from staying at your parents' place some months ago.
I trust you haven't any objections, sir.
You're the son of my oldest and closest friend, Henry, and that makes what I have to say all the more painful.
Why, what do you mean? Surely.
I'll be frank with you. A marriage between my daughter and you, Henry, has been one of my dearest wishes, and I know it's been the same with your mother and father. Then let me finish, please. Margaret is my whole life. Her happiness and her welfare matter more to me than anything else in this world.
Yes, but surely you know that
I feel that I should be perfectly content to trust them both to you. I can't tell you how much I wish it were so.
Why, what do you mean? What have you got against me?
The man I give my daughter to must be able to keep faith with her. He must have a moral standing, at least to match hers. I don't say equal to hers, because no man can be on the same plane as a really good, pure woman.
Oh, I wish you'd explain. What have you got against me? What are you talking about?
A certain Mrs. Marchbanks. Now, don't think I've been spying on you, but by the merest accident, actually through my legal business, I happened to discover your relations with her.
What?
There was a certain settlement about to be made. It was cancelled, and the reason was you. You can't blame me for feeling reluctant about giving Margaret into your keeping, can you?
Oh, I know I'm unworthy. I know I'm unfit to touch her, but the thought of losing, why, you don't know what it means.
Did you think of that when you were paying your surreptitious visits to that woman?
Oh, won't you give me a chance to redeem myself? We're not asking to be married yet. I won't be through my course for another year. I swear that if you'll say nothing to Margaret, you'll never have cause to complain of me again.
I'll say nothing to her. But I can't consent to the engagement being made public.
But what am I going to tell her?
I don't know. But I imagine that you're pretty practiced in the art of concealment, aren't you?
I deserve that. But it hurts for all that.
Henry, why did you do it? For the life of me, I can't imagine how you could have stooped to such a thing. And so soon after Margaret promised to marry you. Surely your love for her should have made it easy to resist the temptations that this other woman offered.
Couldn't it have been that it was because I love her so much? Do you think that the feelings I have for Margaret have nothing to do with the flesh? She's remote beyond me. Everything places her beyond my reach. Oh, can't you be reasonable?
Perhaps I can. Yes, perhaps I can. I'm not so far removed from my own youth that I've forgotten.
Then you'll not be hard on me. You'll see that what I felt for this woman had nothing whatever to do with Margaret. It's just as though I was another being, a different man.
Yet still the man who wants to marry my daughter. And the man who might well break her heart and ruin her life.
Oh, give me a chance. Just give me a chance.
Come back to me at the end of 2 years when you've taken your degree and established yourself as a doctor. If there's been no more of it, well,
there'll be no more. I swear there'll be no more. Who's there?
Lanyon, what on earth are you doing? Tuck away in that laboratory this out of night.
Go away, you idiot. I'm working.
The supper's getting cold. I make cocoa, too.
Well, drink it yourself. I don't want any.
You know what the time is?
Yes, it's 12:15. Go to bed and sleep your brains away. I'm going to stay here till I've got something to go right.
When I'm in hospital, don't get some sleep.
Oh, you'll end up in one if you don't shut up and go away. You've made me forget my calculations. I'll have to do them all over again.
Oh, all right. You budding geniuses, give me a pain.
Professor Marriott, my beloved master, I've been a coward. I failed to keep my word. I haven't discovered the secret, but I'm going to. I've got to. I can't have this infernal, evil second self destroying me. And it is destroying me. It's growing stronger, harder to resist. Come now, here are my notes. Here is the tincture. Here are the salts. I'll start again.
What about these pictures, Henry? You taking them?
Oh, no. Leave them for our successors.
Well, I never thought I'd be sorry to see the last of this old room, but I must confess to something like a pang.
Well, I've always said you were a sentimental idiot, Lanyon.
Of course, you're altogether too detached from realities to know the meaning of human sorrows. But my feelings are of a sweeter, simpler kind.
Yes, if I throw this book at your head, you'll know if your feelings are of a sweeter, simpler kind.
Well, I never thought I'd be packing up the same time as you. Greatest surprise of my life to find I'd passed the finals. Just imagine, Hugh Lanyon, M.B. B.Sc., written on a shining brass plate. But then again, you, with half the honors and diplomas of the year tucked under your arm, can't imagine the humble pleasures of us lesser men.
Oh, Hugh, you garrulous idiot. Shut up and sling me over those straps.
Yeah.
I'll never get the lock of this trunk to hold.
Say, where are you going this summer?
I'm I'm going to stay in London.
London? What on earth for?
Oh, I've got one or two things I've got to clear up. London's the only place where I can do it.
You don't mean that crazy notion of old Professor Marriott, do you? Oh, sorry. That's a touchy subject with you.
Then shall we not discuss it? Now, come on, look lively. If you're going to catch the 4 o'clock train, you haven't any time to waste. Hello.
Your cab's waiting, Mr. Jekyll, sir.
Oh, thanks, Bert. I'll be right down.
So this is where we say goodbye, is it?
Goodbye, nothing. After you finish gadding around Europe all summer, I suppose you'll be coming back to London. Look me up as soon as you get there.
And, Henry, I know you hate sentiment and all that sort of rot, but it's been good here, sharing this little room with you. Oh, well, you know what I mean.
I know. I found it good, too. But it doesn't end here. We're only at the beginning. You're an idiot, you know, and a pest into the bargain, but I don't want to lose touch with you.
Nor me either.
See you in London, then. Be good.
Not me. Goodbye, you old ratbag. Don't go blowing yourself up by mistake.
Can't promise. Goodbye.
May I come in?
Oh, Margaret, dear, how nice to see you.
Daddy and I are going to Lord's this afternoon to see the cricket. I was wondering if you and Mr. Jekyll would like to come, too.
Oh, that's very sweet of you, dear. I don't think I feel quite up to it, but I'm sure Mr. Jekyll would.
Oh, you should come. Dr. Grace is batting, and I hear he's a wizard.
Why don't you try and persuade Henry to go with you? He's been stuck away in that laboratory all the week. He'll get ill if he doesn't go out into the fresh air sometimes.
I know. I thought he wasn't looking a bit well last Sunday. Oh, I do wish he'd find out whatever it is he's looking for. We hardly ever see him, do we?
You're very patient with him, dear.
I'm not a bit patient. I hate his old laboratory. I'm jealous of it. Oh, but what's the use of that? Henry's promised me it won't be much longer. He was terribly excited when I saw him last. He said he was within an ace of success.
Has he ever told you what it is he's trying to discover?
Never. But he told me that he'd be a different person if he succeeded. That he'd lock up the laboratory and be a human being again.
Oh, go and get him out of it now. The weather's glorious. Make him go to the cricket and enjoy himself. He'll have forgotten how to be human.
Do you think I should?
Why not?
Well, he mightn't like me going over there and disturbing him.
I'd risk that, especially if I looked as charming as you do in that new leghorn hat.
Do you like it? I'll admit I wore it on purpose, hoping I'd catch a glimpse of Henry.
Go and let him catch a glimpse of you. That's more to the point.
I believe I will.
Try the outer door, and if it's not locked, go right in. He'll be in the little room at the top of the stairs. Take him by storm, my dear.
I've been dying to see the inside of the Chamber of Mysteries.
Then off with you, and don't be denied.
I won't.
Hello, Margaret. How are you, my dear?
She's come to drag you and Henry off to the cricket.
Henry?
Yes. I'm just gathering up enough courage to go and beard the lion in his den.
You know the way, don't you? Go through the little side door and right across the courtyard at the back of the house.
Yes, I know. We used to play there when we were children. Wish me luck.
Indeed I do, child.
Do you think she'll succeed?
I hope so. I'm getting quite worried over the boy. He's lost weight terribly. I don't think he sleeps more than about 3 or 4 hours a night. He can't go on like this.
Oh, there's nothing we can do about it, my dear. It's the zeal of the scientist, and he's chosen to serve the most jealous of all mistresses. She'll brook no rivals.
A bit hard on Margaret, isn't it? Not many girls would consent with as little attention as she gets.
Margaret is a very exceptional girl, and I only hope our son appreciates her.
Oh, he does. You've only got to see them together. He looks at her as though he's filling his eyes with the sight of her to last him during the times he's shut away by himself.
Well, I must say I'll be very much relieved when he completes his investigations and they can be married.
You forget the engagement isn't even announced yet.
Oh, a mere formality, a whim of Henry's, but we know perfectly well the way things stand between them.
Yes, they've belonged to each other ever since they were children. I sometimes... Merciful heavens, what's that?
It's Margaret. Something's happened in the laboratory. I can see her running across the courtyard from this window.
Then go and see what it is. Go. Something might have happened to Henry.
Yes, I'll go. Keep calm, my dear. Remember your heart.
I'm coming too. I just can't sit here. Help me, Edward.
I can hear her coming up the stairs.
Margaret.
My dear child, whatever's happened? Now, calm yourself. Sit down here and tell us.
Is it Henry? Has something happened?
Oh, no. I don't know.
Get us some sal volatile, Edward. There, over in the little cabinet by the window. Margaret, try and calm yourself, child. You must tell us what's the matter. What happened? What did you see?
A man. The most awful little man.
What?
Where did you see him?
Over there. In the room below the laboratory. Oh, he was terrible.
In what way? Here, drink this, dear, and you'll feel better. Edward, bring a footstool to put under her feet. She's shaking from head to foot. Now, dear, try and tell us just what happened.
I went across the courtyard and pushed open the door. I couldn't see very well, as it was dark in there, and I'd just come out of the sunlight. Then I heard a sort of sound. I can't describe it. Something like a laugh. It was the most horrible and terrible sound I've ever heard in my life.
Don't worry yourself, child. Go on.
It was just behind me, and I turned. There he was, looking at me, leering at me from the darkness. He was little, sort of deformed and terrible. I can't describe it. I couldn't move. Just stood there, paralyzed. And he began to move towards me, slowly, like a cat. He reached out his hands to touch me. And then I screamed. I screamed and screamed as though I'd never stop. And a sort of terror came over him. He looked over his shoulder and leapt up the stairs to the laboratory and slammed the door.
That's all?
Yes. And I came running back to the house. Oh.
Marion, you stay with her and try and get her calm. I'll go and see what this is all about.
No, don't go. Keep away from him. He's evil. The most evil thing on earth.
But I must go, dear. If he's there, Henry must know about him. There must be some explanation.
Yes, Henry. Why, I'd forgotten Henry. He might do him some harm. Oh, go quickly.
Oh, Margaret, you must stop this. Stop it at once, do you hear? Nothing has happened to you. You've had a bad fright, but nothing more.
You go, Edward. I'll look after her. Go quickly. I'm afraid for Henry.
Try and get a doctor, and I'll be back as soon as I can. Henry, are you there? Open the door. Henry, what's the matter? Why don't you answer me? Open the door. Smash it in. Henry, can you hear me? Henry, what's the matter?
Is that you, Father?
Yes, it's me. Open the door. Are you all right?
Yes. I'm all right.
Then let me in.
I will. In a minute. Just wait.
Are you ill? Has something happened to you?
No, I'm all right, Father. I'm coming now. I'm going to open the door.
Henry. For heaven's sake, boy, what's the matter? You look deathly.
I'm quite all right, Father. Just let me sit down in this chair for a while. I want to rest. I've had a sort of seizure.
Let me get you something. Some of this brandy.
Yes, just a little. Just a little. Thank you. No, that's better.
Now tell me what happened. What's going on in this place today? First of all, Margaret...
Just tell me about her. Margaret. Is she all right?
She had a terrible fright. Who was this man she saw? Do you know him?
Yes. Yes, I know him. I know him very well.
Who is he? What was he doing here?
He was helping me with my work. He's been of the greatest value.
Henry, you've got to stop. It'll kill you. The seizure you've had. Has it ever happened before?
Yes. A few times, but never like this.
Never like this.
You've been experimenting on yourself?
Yes, on myself.
I implore you to stop. Even though you succeed, what does that count for if you destroy yourself?
Succeed! I have succeeded. Magnificently. Splendidly. Beyond my wildest hopes. Father, you shall see a new man born. You shall see the human soul attain to heights no one has ever dreamed of. A new era in the history of humanity has begun this day.